we're trying something new in our homeschool, a gather around unit. I've been interested in it for a while, but I couldn't quite figure out how we were going to use it because I knew we weren't going to use it as written, as designed. So Black Friday sale, I finally took advantage of it, grabbed 2 units, Inventions and Ideas, and then Vikings. Today I'm going to walk you through Inventions and Ideas. Now for the student guide, I did purchase the middle school level, but it's pretty similar if you've never done it with as far as format goes, for all the levels. So let's flip the camera down and go inside. Since we are using this just as a casual morning basket type thing, I did purchase the middle school level. If I wanted it for the more core curricula, I would get the high school version for my 9th grader for sure, and maybe even for my 7th grader, based on what I've seen. But we want this to be casual, easy, fun. As you can see, I disc bound it. I used the arc punch. I love this punch. You'll also notice as we go through that I didn't print everything out. And that's because the teacher's guide for sure, I'm loaded into GoodNotes on my iPad. And the student guide, I'm not sure yet if I want to print it all for them or if we're going to end up doing so much of it together orally that it would not make sense. I don't know. Watch for the review and I will let you know then. So here is the table of contents. I like that it's color-coded with what each lesson is going to be focused on, whether it's the art, Bible, geography, grammar, history, language arts, math, science, or social studies. And I think this is the table of contents that came in the student version. The one in the teacher's guide was just the lesson names, I believe. Now here's the seat work. They have redesigned it so that all the seat work is at the beginning of the unit when you print it out so that you're not flipping back and forth so much, because these pages are for a week at a time. Now, if you're eagle-eyed, you'll notice that I've messed up and put week 2 and week 1 together. And that was my mistake when I was printing. I messed things up, but still, it's fine. There's a copy work, the spelling words, spotlight on current events, something about growing character, and then a spot for today's schedule. Now, what I'm not sure about is how you're really supposed to use this, because if the copy work is usually a daily thing, but I'm only getting 1 day for it and then a schedule. So I don't know how this should be. And then there's only this one box for current events, even though you're supposed to do it every day. So I don't know, but I think if I were going to use this in the way, like for this purpose, that I would probably print out multiple ones of this days. And maybe that's what you're supposed to do. I don't know. I didn't see that in the guide, but okay. Before I show you the student guide, we're going to flip to the teacher's guide. So here's the teacher's guide, and I've got all kinds of notes on here. Very beautiful cover. I like it. At the beginning, you'll find some different note pages. I did not print them all out because I just read them on the screen. Now, if you are not aware, or maybe you've never done Gather Round before, Gather Round units are designed that there are multiple notebooks depending on your age range. And everybody reads, or the teacher, mom, reads the same text to everybody to begin with. And then each level has their own student guide, which I'll show you. So gather your kids and read in it. There's a prayer. And then, this is lesson 2, by the way. Sexton, some little tidbits. I always loved little tidbits in textbooks when I was in school. They kept me entertained while the teacher droned on and on. So I was excited to see those. It made me smile. Okay, so you're going to read all of that. And then this is where your students will go to their student notebook to begin work. Meanwhile, this is Mom's. Now, there is a day at a glance here to tell you what they are each doing in their level in their individual papers. Personally, I would prefer this information at the front, but I guess it makes more sense to have it here with the answer key at the end. I don't know. I would prefer this at the front though. So all the levels answer keys are right here. Okay, so lesson 3, Inventions and Ideas that Fly. So we'll start with the Wright brothers, which is good. We've just been talking about the Wright brothers. Hot air balloons, gliders, and then again, that's the end. I didn't print out the answer key page for this lesson. And then lesson 4, Inventions and Ideas that Thrill. My youngest will love this. He is my thrill seeker. Parachutes, roller coasters, bungee. He'll definitely love that one. And then one more of the last page. And back to the student guide. So now after you have done that, your student goes and does this part independently. So there's some reading. This one's about navigating relationships. I've kind of chuckled of how they tie things in. Navigating relationships, because this was the compass unit. So level 2. And for social studies and geography, they've got a page here. And then grammar. This is broken down as day 1, day 2, and day 3. But to me, each of those are short enough that I would just have my student do all of them on one day. I'm not going to have them make 5 circles for a day's worth of grammar. But you definitely can. Just not my preference. Okay, and then is the notebooking page, which they're supposed to do as you read from the lesson. And then here's the notebooking page so that they can do this while you were reading the lesson. And I suppose you could even have them come back and do this as a review, especially for the older kids, middle school and high school. I think that's what I would do, is have them come back at the end of the day and wrap up based on what they remember. And then there's a science activity. Level 3, again, another notebooking page. Researching and designing a flight experiment. My boys always love a chance to do the parachute, plastic bag parachute activity. So that's probably what they would try to choose if I didn't steer them elsewhere. How flight changed the world. A Bible section. And art, designing an aircraft. And then lesson 4. And now lesson 4. I love this idea of recording early roller coasters. My boys would enjoy that. Talk about parachutes. And now lesson 4 starts off with the notebooking page. Again, this is what they're supposed to do while you read, but I think this would be great to do, again, just as a review on their own type of thing. So it starts with discussing the differences between past roller coasters and present ones. Things about the parachute. Write interesting details about each of the bungee jumping thrill seekers mentioned in today's lesson. A short science lesson about inertia. And then in this one, this page is all about it's called Gravity Road, and it talks about now here on the Gravity Road page, it talks about coal mines and how that apparently was inspiration for roller coasters, which I didn't know that. And then now here in Gravity Road, it talks about how coal mines were an inspiration for roller coasters. And so then your student is supposed to design theirs and then write about it. Their Gravity Road. And then last page is about disclosures. So I think my boys for sure will enjoy this. It seems like a very middle school boy thing to get carried away and find hilarity in that activity. And then a reflect and review about the things that they've learned this week. So each of these lessons are a day's worth of lessons, and if you do it every day, that's 5 days a week. So it's a 4-week unit. Now, a fairly recent change, from what I understand, is that their extras are no longer included in the download. I did not see mention of this anywhere. It may have been in one of the emails. I don't know. I looked through the teacher's guide and didn't see it mentioned. So I emailed them because I had seen some of these extras in other older walkthrough videos. And so they emailed me back pretty promptly and said that they're now all on the website. I'm guessing that it makes it, well, one, cheaper for their print versions and maybe a little quicker download for if you're buying the download version, which obviously I did. I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm going to walk you through these because I did not know that they were on. Anyway, I wanted to make sure and mention that because if, like me, you don't see that, then you may be left wondering where in the world these are found. Now, the lesson planner, I really like the idea of this, but I didn't hole punch it yet because I think that as I'm planning, I will want to have these separately so I'm not flipping through with them. When I'm done, I will hole punch them and put them at the front of my guide. So their lesson planner page gives you a box for each lesson, and then a spot for adventures, shopping lists. The 2 picture spots here would be great to put down your book idea, your book list, if you want to create a separate book list, after you write them in here, and that way you've got an actual list for ease as well. There's also another list back here for supplies or whatever, and then note pages. So the first download I have was the book list. Again, I really appreciate that it is color-coded. I have not gone through this to see if I kind of... So the first page we have is the book list. Again, it's all color-coded. I will say that looking at the middle school and high school, I think there's a lot of overlap. And some of the ones that they categorize as high school, I would say are definitely appropriate for middle school. I haven't yet looked at the younger grades. Now, that said, not a surprise because I feel like this is just the way so many unit studies go, but they did not include a lot for the middle school and high school level. I don't know if that's because they thought the middle school and high school ones were longer, and so they only just gave 1 or 2 choices, or harder to find. I don't know. Whatever it is, there are not many. But they are broken down by lesson, which I really love. I love that there are a good variety or good numbers so that depending on your kids' levels or however you want to do it, if you want to have reading in one unit or one lesson but not another day, it's really easy to do that. It's all categorized. I like that a lot. And then we have your scope and sequence. I think this was in the... And then we have your scope and sequence. Now, this was in the student version in the past, from what I saw in other videos. But again, now it's in separately. And it's all, when you go to the scope and sequence page, all of the levels are in there. I printed out just the middle school one. There are additional... The next page is the scope and sequence. When you go to download this, all of the levels are in one file, and I just printed the middle school version. I think this part was in the student guide in the older versions of the downloads based on what I saw on other videos, but now it's its own page. I really like this page because while there are website ideas and video ideas on their website, again, they have a whole section and they break it down by week with ideas that users have submitted. while they do that, this is really nice, in my opinion, because you can quickly find things you want to look for videos about or other resources for whatever. So it's broken down by subject, not by the week. So you've got science, social studies, language arts, geography, math, history, Bible concepts, Bible passages, your spelling words, vocabulary words, and then art ideas. And now, especially for the history and even for the science, I will be looking for ideas. Now, for the science and for the history part, for sure, maybe even for geography, I'll be using this to look on PBS and Netflix and such, probably mostly PBS for these topics. But I now have some ideas that I can just start putting into search terms, using as search terms and putting them into different streaming sites. The last page is the optional supply list. So if you are going to do the different activities, they have it broken down by the lesson number of what you're going to need. And there was just one page or one choice of these. So I assume then, other than the ones that mention it specifically, that all of these supplies are used in all of the levels. So that is that's Inventions and Ideas. Be sure to hit subscribe so you come back and see when I put up my review of it. Give you my first impressions of what Gather Round does for our homeschool. Thanks for watching.